So let's talk about polymorphism. Polymorphism is nothing but, you know, so poly is many and morphism is forms. Okay. So simply we can say polymorphism is nothing but many forms. Okay. So and why we have chosen this name polymorphism? Why? What is the importance of this polymorphism? Okay. So for example, okay. So let's take an example. A person. Okay. So a person will be a student when he goes to some institute. Okay. And a person will be, know, a employee when he goes to a company. Okay. And the same person might behave as a, a children to their parents. Okay. And husband to his wife. Okay. And father to his children. Okay. So the same person in different situation in, behaving differently. Okay. So in the institute he will, behave differently, and in the company he'll behave differently. When he goes home, his roles are changed, his behavior is changed, right? Okay. The same thing, okay, it is very important. The same thing which has multiple behaviors, okay, so is nothing but polymorphism. Okay. The same thing which has multiple behaviors, we can call it as polymorphism. Okay. So there are two types of polymorphism. One is compile time polymorphism and other one is runtime polymorphism. So this polymorphism can be achieved in Java by using method overloading and method overriding. And method overloading we already covered. Okay, let's talk about method. Just a word about method overloading. For example, what is method overloading? A method. Okay, there are same method name, but there are multiple method names. Multiple methods are there, which are different from number of parameters or order of parameters or type of parameters. Okay. So in method overloading we can see that there are multiple methods with the same name, but these are different in number of parameters or order of parameters and type of parameters. Okay. So when I call a method with two parameters, its behavior is different. When I call a method with three parameters, its behavior is different, right? So that's how we can achieve polymorphism through method overloading. And let's talk about method overriding. Okay. So okay, let's talk about method overriding. So if a subclass has the same method as declared in the parent class, it is known as method overriding in Java. Okay. So a subclass has inherited the parent class. Okay. So then only we can say when inheritance is happened, then only, so we can say it is a subclass and it is a parent class. Okay. So when a subclass inherits a parent class and the subclass defines a same method which is declared in the parent class, so such method we can call it as method overriding. And method overriding is used to, change the behavior of the method which is declared in the parent class. Okay. So, so there are certain rules to define method over. It's not overloading. Method overriding. The signature of the subclass method should be same as the parent class. Here, the signature of the method is nothing but name, parameters, a return type, and check exception. Let's see some example. Okay, one more point you require to remember: constructors cannot be overridden. Okay, this is one point you require to note down. So, and other thing is the access level cannot be more restrictive. For example, if the superclass is having a access modifier as public, okay, you cannot define in the subclass, you cannot define it as a, private or protected. You cannot, you cannot decrease the scope of it. Okay. But if a If the parent class is having for example protected, you can define public, there is no issue. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Let's talk about let's let's look into an example of method overriding. Public class A, public class B. Let's say class A is having two methods. Okay, so let's look into class A and class B closely. Class A is having a method display and class B is also having a method display, and it, class B extends A. Okay, so when subclass when subclass defines a method same as the parent class, okay, and that we can call it as a method overriding. Okay, so subclass defines a method which is same as in the parent class. This is called method overriding. Okay, so the rule of method overriding is the method name should be same. The method name should be same, first thing. Okay, the return type should be same, second thing. Okay, and if you are passing any parameters here, okay, the parameters also matched here. Okay, as it is. Let's say for example, if I am taking int a comma float b, and here also I am taking int a comma in float b. Okay, the argument names can be different. It can be b1 or a1. The names can be different. Do not bother about the names, only see the data types of their parameters. Okay, here int and here float, here also int and here also float. Okay, should be matched. Let's say instead of this, if you define like this, okay, here also two parameters and here also two parameters, that's true. But here it is taking a float, here it is taking a int. It is not method overriding. It can come into the method overloading. Okay, so the reason is class A also belongs to class B now. Okay, all the methods and members of class A can be accessed in class B. Now class B is having two methods, public void display int A1 int b1 and public void display int a comma float b. This comes into method overloading, not method overriding. When you want to define the method overriding, when you want to define the a behavior of a method in the subclass, so you have to make sure that everything is same. Okay, sorry, float b. So you can also look into the rules of method overriding. Okay, the method name and the return type and the parameters we pass should be matched, and if it is a public, it should be also public. Okay, but if it is a default, okay, it can be public. Okay, the access modifier, the scope can be increased but cannot be decreased. Okay, so for example, this is allowed if it is a public, this should be public only. Okay, if you mention default, what happens? The scope of default is lesser than public. You should not be less restrictive. Okay, so that is one thing. Yeah, that's about method overriding. And method overriding will be overriding the superclass method. Okay, let's say if I print b1.display, okay, this particular method will be called, not the method in a. Okay, let's do the same thing once again. So in the interview, you will be confused like this. Now tell me what is the answers for all these things. Now what are the answers for b1.display and b1.display and a1.display and a2.display? Yeah, quickly.
The first one, it will print I'm in B.
Okay, perfect.
The second one will display I'm in A. No. That's correct. No, I'm in B, I guess.
Okay.
The third one, I'm in A.
It's absolutely correct. Okay, so I know you guys are a little bit confused over this one, and let me explain. Okay, now what is happened? A B object, B1, sorry, it's not a B1. I'm very sorry. It's a B. The object B is referred by A1, and which is of type A. Okay, so in the B object we are having a display. Okay, so if you are having display, there is no problem. It can able to invoke. Okay, first it will check, even though we define as A, the object which is the object which is pointing is B. Okay, first it will look into B whether this particular method is available or not. If it is available, it will invoke it. Okay, so that's one thing. Yeah, that's about method overriding.